there's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Fernando Torres.
So I guess I'm going to become a commentary YouTuber for today, because we're going to be talking about KSI being cancelled and leaving Twitter because he has wrote transphobic tweets before, and in the past has said the T slur on his videos with the Sidemen, and he was called out for it. So we're going to get into all the drama, show you what has happened. But while talking about all that stuff, I want to use it as an example how cancel culture doesn't exist. It's just for people who are famous to blame things on when they say things that are unpopular and people call them out for it. That's essentially all cancel culture is, because we're going to look at the power dynamics. Even someone like Gina Carano, who was cancelled as well, and walked straight into a very cushy job with the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro. I don't think using that as an example makes cancel culture sound exactly so bad, but there's loads of historic examples like Mel Gibson, Roman Polanski, Woody Allen, loads of people who have been cancelled or should have been cancelled, but still make loads of movies, still make loads of money, still have lots of fame and power. I guess cancel culture isn't really a thing, and if we cancelled whoever we wanted, the woke left angry mob, why was Donald Trump president? Why is Ben Shapiro a massive YouTuber and commentator? Why do the right dominate the news cycle? Why do they dominate YouTube? If cancel culture really worked, wouldn't we have taken them all down by now?
Before we go any further, recently YouTube demonetized my entire channel, supposedly for bullying. What had actually happened is I'd been mass flagged by some community or some fans. Thankfully, after bigger creators like the Humanist Report, the Surfs, Carl Kalinske and Wowshi retweeted the tweet, YouTube went back on its policies, but it's shown me how fragile this is as a source of income. So if you want to support my work continuing for the future, regardless of what YouTube do, please consider becoming a patron. If you want to join our growing community, please check out the Discord and the subreddit in the description. And if you want to follow me personally, check out @TheCavernacle on Instagram and Twitter. And also u/TommyCahill1995 for my personal Reddit.
So I also live stream 2 times a week, and people have asked for this, so I've given it to you. Go subscribe to my second channel, The Cavernacle Extra, where I'm going to be putting all the stream archives after I'm done. If you don't have time to watch them, if you miss them, may also post some more videos there, who knows. Also, we're slowly chugging along to 30k. Every 5k we get a new chocolate orange. Don't you want to see another one added to this lovely collection? I promise if we ever get 100k, I'll live stream myself eating most of them. So for those of you who don't know, KSI is basically the biggest British YouTuber. I remember my brothers used to like him back in the day. I never liked his content, I never liked him, but he had a mass appeal. He's only grown since then and is about, I guess, over 10 years on the platform, I think. And now he basically makes like reaction stuff, and also he has another channel with the Sidemen, which is a collaboration of various YouTubers, where it's kind of focused on football or soccer for Americans, but also does, you know, broader stuff. They've become their own like little group of personalities in themselves. So he's a guy with an absolutely huge platform, right? Lots of power. YouTube love him. He's also apparently a pretty good boxer as well, and has done boxing matches and everything, which have been very popular, even gaining mainstream attention. So this guy is extremely famous, has a lot of money, I guess a lot of power, especially online. But recently he's been getting into some hot water with the woke mob because he said numerous controversial things in succession. So this sort of stuff all takes place over the last month or so, leading to him leaving Twitter because of cancel culture. So let's get into the first one. So KSI and Fundy criticised for offensive jokes on Quackity's Jackbox stream. So they play a game called Jackbox, which is a party game with a variety of mini games. One of the games, Quiplash, involves finishing sentence starters in the funniest way possible, with viewers able to tune in and vote for the answers they believe be the funniest. It's become a favourite among Twitch streamers who want a party game that is interactive. However, some viewers were not happy with how Quackity's February 19th stream panned out, as KSI and Fundy were heavily criticised for making jokes about sexual misconduct. One of the sentence fillers came after the topic, what you never want to hear after the words don't worry, which Fundy completed with drugs will make her forget. In a game of Mad vs City, which pits players against each other in a rap battle, one set of lyrics entered by Fundy said, I'm slaying these verses, you don't need a litter, want a lasting relationship, make sure not to hit her. Meanwhile, KSI was called out for making a joke about children. One joke said this year's least popular kids toy is the child. In a now viral Twitter thread, the joke was slammed as not funny at all. I don't even know what the joke is there. One fan urged Fundy to admit wrongdoing. She said he has done this type of joke more than once and still hasn't addressed it. He needs to get educated on this matter and apologise. In response to the criticism, KSI came out in support of Fundy in a message sent to the Minecraft stream on Twitter. He said, here for you if you need it, bro. KSI has previously jokingly pleaded on stream for people not to cancel him and Fundy. KSI has spoken about cancel culture before, having once claimed he can never be cancelled because his name cannot trend on Twitter. So, quite funny there that he can never be cancelled, but has now quit Twitter because of cancel culture. Now, let's get into the actual drama. I'm going to read what has happened, and then I'm going to show you what he said and how he's responded. So, KSI quits Twitter after following PewDiePie's example, another one of my absolutely favourite YouTubers. KSI has publicly announced that he's stepping away from Twitter due to the rise of cancel culture on the platform. This decision was no doubt impacted by the backlash he received after being accused of using transphobic language. In an unexpected tweet, KSI announced that he'd be leaving Twitter due to the prevalence of cancel culture on the platform, and this is due to, making transphobic jokes during a Jackbox stream. Although KSI has publicly apologised for his language, he has still been receiving a stream of comments on each of his posts bringing up the topic. It would seem as a result, KSI has accused certain users on the platform of attempting to damage their careers over minor issues. So he said, Twitter used to be an amazing place where you could connect with people in different communities and communicate without any problems. Now it's just full of pretentious people that are ready to cancel and destroy your legacy for breathing incorrectly. And on that note, I'm out. Now I understand why Felix left Twitter. Man was ahead of the curve. This is the actual thing that he's mad about, people calling him out for this. So someone saying to him, you misgendered a trans person in a more sidemen vid and have said the T slur. He said, didn't even mean is mid-gender, lol. Just said that the person had a better beard than me, that's it. I honestly didn't even know that the T slur was a bad word. What's the correct term to use? And then he just said it again. So he said, my bad for saying that word and other transgender slurs. Honestly didn't know they were slurs. I know now though. Man's educating himself, haha. Again, I don't know why he said it again in his tweet if he's just learned it's a slur and he shouldn't say it. And then that puts his tweet in a bit more of a different light. So he's being cancelled because he's done two things lately. But another article said fans keep blasting him for the slurs. And I'm going to read what a trans KSI fan thinks of this as well. So someone called Sphinx Online wrote on the KSI subreddit, KSI cancelled. Okay, so to start with, for the record, I think him being cancelled is BS and should not have happened. But however, the main reason he's being cancelled is transphobia. I don't think JJ is transphobic, but as a trans person, I've noticed a lot of transphobia in this community. So just making this post to say, feel free to ask any questions in the comments. I'm here to educate. I don't know if anyone will see this post. Someone saying, if you go into his Twitter replies, it's just literally people being openly transphobic. I don't think he's transphobic, but a lot of people defending him on Twitter are, and on here are, unfortunately. So someone else said, I don't think JJ is intentionally transphobic, but my god, the amount of very transphobic things I've seen in this sub is very disheartening as a trans person who wants to interact with other fans. So that's pretty depressing for people who are trans and do like him and feel like he's kind of fostered a community on Twitter and Reddit, which is very hostile to transgender people. And that's like a really real issue I've spoken about in the past with YouTubers who build these sort of communities on edgy content, and then when stuff like this comes up, they really show their true colours. But basically, he said trans slurs, he made jokes about harassment and things like that, so people have called him out on it, and it's only recent, so of course you're going to keep getting that hate on your tweets, and he's also like a massive creator. I don't know why he doesn't just turn off his replies. Even me, who only has like 2,700 followers on Twitter, I filter my DMs. I also filter my mentions, so anyone who doesn't follow me, if they ever tweet about me or tag me, I don't get it because I'm just not dealing with that rubbish. Someone as big as that can of course do that. And what he's done is he stepped back and he's having his management team run his Twitter account. But I always find it ironic these people talk about cancel culture when he's literally just being called out for doing something bad. And I guess some people can be zealots about it, like, you know, maybe not let him learn from his experience. He says he didn't know this stuff. He says he was ignorant. And that's fair enough. He probably shouldn't have said it again. But again, given the benefit of the doubt, he's trying to learn and try and be better. Hopefully he won't make these jokes again. Not that it's great, he's been making them for years. But again, you know, good that he's learning. But you're not being cancelled if you're suffering a bit of controversy and a bit of criticism under your tweets. Like, cancel culture has become so ridiculous, and like I said, I do not believe it even exists. And people might say, of course cancel culture exists. Look at KSI, look at Gina Carano, look at all these people. They're cancelled for having an opinion. They're cancelled for saying something bad in the past, even though KSI recently tweeted these things. It's not like he was like 15 or 14 and someone dug them up from 10 years ago. He literally just said them. And it just feels like a lot of these people cannot take criticism, cannot take genuine criticism at what they've said. And I guess with someone like him, he's upheld by all these British YouTubers as like the best. He can't do no wrong. No one hates KSI. No one really calls him out for anything. And everyone thinks he's like the champion of the UK. If you see the, you know, the boxing matches he's in, it's actually embarrassing how much everyone kisses his arse. So I'm not surprised when he's finally being attacked by, you know, the woke people on Twitter for saying this stuff. He can't handle it and thinks he's being cancelled. Also looks very bad for him, I guess, in a business sense, that people keep bringing this stuff up, because it is pretty bad what he did. But now let's get to the broader thing about cancel culture. He says, you know, he's leaving because of cancel culture. PewDiePie said it as well. These guys have absolutely enormous platforms, right? Enormous Twitter following, enormous Instagram following, massive YouTube platforms, right? He's been criticised a bit for this. Most of his fans don't care. Go on the subreddit, most of them support him. Most people in general, let's keep it real, because the UK is so bad for trans issues. Most people in general in the UK won't care about this. They won't think he's done something wrong. So it's really like a pretty vocal minority who are criticising him for using these slurs. But then he leaves Twitter crying about cancel culture and saying, you know, he leaves for the cancel culture, but then he goes back to his other massive platforms where no one will care, the ad revenue won't stop, the sponsors won't stop, he'll still keep raking it in. I don't really understand everyone saying, you know, there's loads of videos like KSI has been cancelled. If this is cancel culture, can I have some cancel culture? Can I be cancelled and just walk away and still keep making millions of pounds? Can I be cancelled like Gina Carano and not get my contract renewed by Disney, but then get paid millions to go work with Ben Shapiro and appear on so many right-wing talk shows, all giving me a massive platform to say what I want? Can I please be cancelled as well? Because it sounds pretty good, to be honest. It sounds like one segment of the population don't like you, and a lot of the time they're a very small minority, and then you can pretend you're being oppressed and persecuted and go on a speaking tour talking about how there's no freedom of speech, toxic cancel culture's getting me, I was just an opinion, bro, or I said sorry, why can't you just move on? Even my apology seems very insincere and like I don't care because I said it again, but I've got to leave because I'm being cancelled. And in my Gina Carano video, this is what people have the biggest problem with. They're like, cancel culture does exist. How can you say that? She got basically harassed off the Mandalorian set, even though it seems like it was pretty coordinated, because it doesn't seem like she was surprised by the news. And then literally within 24 hours, she was talking about her partnership with the Daily Wire. And what happened in that instance was probably she was warned a bunch of times, stop pushing far-right conspiracy garbage on your social media or we're not going to renew your contract, because that was the words of what Disney said. They didn't say she has been kicked off The Mandalorian Season 3. They said she's not an employee of Disney and we're not renewing her contract. So it feels like she knew. And historically, cancel culture does not exist for powerful people. Donald Trump, all the awful things he ever said and did before becoming president. Then you have other people like Mel Gibson. Then you have Woody Allen, Roman Polanski. You'd think if cancel culture existed and was real, like all these people say, these guys would never work again. But they're constantly working, constantly being defended by people who work with them, constantly being promoted by studios. Hacksaw Ridge had a massive Oscar campaign where it got nominated for a bunch of Oscars. Studios do Oscar campaigns. If they didn't think Mel Gibson was reputable in some sort of way, they wouldn't have done an Oscar campaign for a movie that he directs. And it's seen as his big comeback after he said some of the most vile stuff I've ever heard a celebrity say. Now, cancel culture does not exist for powerful people. At the very least, I hope you can agree with me on that. Cancel culture does not exist for people like KSI, does not exist for people like Roman Polanski or Mel Gibson or other people, because for powerful people, even if the scandal is severe, you just go away and then you come back later. So I'm just really sick of this discourse, because PewDiePie was talking about like J.K. Rowling when he left Twitter, saying about cancel culture as well. J.K. Rowling has not been cancelled. People criticising you for your bad opinions, holding you account for your bad opinions, and you getting offended by that, but still being very powerful, rich, and in the wake of all this scandal of J.K. Rowling, she then releases a best-selling book, despite being cancelled by the woke mob. It's always funny to me, the people who are cancelled have massive platforms and continue to have massive platforms where they talked about being censored, where they talk about being cancelled, and it just blows my mind how people think this is a thing, the cancel culture. Dr. Seuss is now cancelled apparently, even though you can go read all his books and buy them. They just don't want to promote the ones with these horrible ethnic stereotypes anymore. It's a decision by the company who sell the books. Apparently it's been cancelled. So to end this weird video about KSI and cancel culture, let's talk about the political element of cancel culture. Now someone like KSI, I don't really know what his politics are. He probably loves money, so he's probably a capitalist, but I don't know what his social politics are. But it appears most people who think they're cancelled are right-wing or centre-right. It's like an election issue or political issue, and it intertwines with a lot of what these people say about leftist people. Leftist people hate free speech. They want to censor your free speech. If you don't say something they like, they want to put you in, prison or something. That's something Jordan Peterson made his whole grift on. And linking it to trans issues, it's about trans people as well, saying if you don't call someone by their pronouns, you'll go to prison or something. That is the fear-mongering he built his internet infamy on. Of course, it never actually happened, but he built it on that, saying it was a war against free speech, and it's cultural Marxism, because the end goal of that sort of law is they're going to lock everyone they don't like in gulags. But it's a total distraction in my mind, because what it does, it allows these guys to paint the left in a certain way while they're looting, your pockets, basically, while they're doing all these awful things. The Tory part in the UK, talking about things like cancel culture and censoring free speech, and the Republicans are talking about cancel culture and they're talking about all this stuff because the only thing these guys can win on is creating propaganda about social issues that don't exist, manufacturing these strange culture wars about nothing, whether that's Mr. Potato Head or Dr. Seuss or anything like this, even this KSI thing, making it like a culture war thing. When in reality, a lot of these decisions are taken by big corporations because they want to be either more inclusive for marketing reasons, or they want to be pandering to what they see as, this new, leftist liberal element who wants stuff like this. But for most people, we don't care. And another thing of cancel culture is it plays into free market economics as well, because the right are the strong capitalists. But if I'm like, I don't want to see a Harry Potter film that J.K. Rowling's involved in. I don't want to buy the Harry Potter game if the proceeds go to J.K. Rowling's profits because she's doing damage to trans people, right? That's my decision as the consumer. I'm not cancelling her. I'm making a decision based on the optics of companies like Warner Brothers and the people they employ. That's my decision. The same way you conservatives ridiculously were burning your Nike shoes. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed not to buy from Nike. It's ridiculous, the thing that outraged you, but again, you're allowed to do that, and you guys took pride in doing that. So if I don't want to watch these movies because of who's involved, if I don't want to do that, then that's not me cancelling them. That's me as this consumer using my right as a consumer not to support things I don't like. And that's a principle you guys seem to love when you're doing it with your Nike shoes. But if Nike did a big campaign about Tom Brady and Donald Trump and we all burnt our Nike shoes, I'm sure you guys would say we're cancelling Nike and cancelling Tom Brady. And as the right like to tell it, I think a real example of cancel culture is someone like Colin Kaepernick, who literally knelt for the national anthem and has never played American football again because he uses freedom of speech and First Amendment right not to stand for the national anthem, which is weirdly played before every sports game. I think that's a better example of so-called cancel culture then being called out for hateful rhetoric or being called out for being a bad person only for like a couple weeks and then acting like you're oppressed and you have to leave because people are forcing you out, when it's really just a small minority and you're still rolling in money. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about cancel culture, YouTubers like KSI, all that stuff. If you want to follow me on social media, at The Tabernacle, Twitter, Instagram, come join our communities on Discord and my subreddit. If you want to support my work, check out my Patreon. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.